Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. Okay, today I will try to answer the question by DIF program. Okay, for business statistics. Okay, I just informed that this group has DIF has 9 groups, and actually I already asked each group to deliver at least one question, and the maximum the 2 questions. But I just realized that some of the group just giving 3 questions, and I will try my best to share what I do. Okay, actually, okay, for the first question by anyone here, okay, what is the basic steps in statistical problem solving? Okay, in statistical problem solving actually has 6. Okay, the first one, we have to identify the research problem. Okay, what is the research problem? You as the researcher has to decide, you have to identify what kind of the research problem that can be used for your research. Okay, actually, you can do many research in real life. Okay, for example, if you want to do research about the teacher satisfaction, job satisfaction, student satisfaction, you want to do research about the perception of the community about the COVID-19 is also fine. Okay, actually, it depends on the statistical problem. It depends on the research problem because as a researcher, you already decide you want to solve this problem. So you can actually face this situation depends on what you had. Okay, for example, if you have a problem with the online learning, if you have a problem with online learning, what you need to know, what is the solution? Okay, what is the solution? That before you get the solution, you have to identify what kind of your research problem. Okay, for example, if you have a problem with the online learning, you have to identify which factor is most affecting the online learning. Okay, so you have to decide. You have to read it from the magazine, you read it from the journal, newspaper, and so on. From this reading, you will realize that this factor may important to assess the impact of the online learning. Okay, I just give you an example. Okay, and then after you just define what kind of the research problem, then you can collect the fact and evidence. Okay, like I say, you can get the evidence and fact based on observation, based on interview, based on your experience. Okay, it depends to the situation. And then after the step 2, you have to collect the data. You have to collect the data using the secondary data. Or maybe you can use the questionnaire as a tool to get the primary data. Okay, why most of the researchers currently interested to apply the cross-sectional study that is frequently used for the primary data? Because for the primary data actually usually useful for the research that has never been explored, but for the secondary data usually has been explored by the other researcher, but you are just doing the analysis using the same data set, just you want to improve the analysis. Okay, sometimes you just want to get more idea, okay, more findings from your analysis. Okay, for example, you already have the data, daily data from the government about the COVID-19. Okay, we get, okay, sometimes we get 1,000 case for the COVID-19, sometimes we get 800. So in order to get the mean for each data, you can import the data and then you analyze. You can get the mean, you can get the median and mode. Okay, from this analysis, using the mean, maybe you can use the group data, ungroup data, depends to the formula and what the suitability of the formula. Okay, from this method, you can get the result. After you get the result, you can presenting. Okay, actually for the presentation, you can do for the step 4. Okay, because after you just doing the analysis, of course, you have to let the people know about your findings. You cannot just save your findings in your laptop and then you just do the analysis but you never share your information. Okay, actually for the researcher, after you do the research, you need to share what you get, what you found with the people outside, because the people outside really need to know what happens in your research. Okay, is if you doing for the master or PhD level, this is what kind of the step that you need to do. Okay, from the very beginning, you have to identify the research problem. You have to collect the evidence and fact. You have to collect the data. And then you do the analysis. Before you do analysis, you have to organize the data. You have to classify, organize properly. Because if you didn't do anything organization to the data, then how you want to get the analysis? You will get more confused. And then after you do the organization and analysis, you have to present. Okay, the step 5, you have to present. You have to let the people know about your situation. And then lastly, sometimes the decision maker or manager really interested to know what kind of the problem that just happened. Okay, if they have a money, they can take your advice or recommendation to improve. Okay, so we as the researcher just give what we did and then just let the decision maker to decide what should we do. Okay, if the research about the quality of life, okay, like quality of life, how to improve the quality of life, maybe the manager or government can improve the can increase the monthly income, for example, or maybe they can do something else that can help the people. Okay, and then for the second question, what is the difference between descriptive statistic and inferential statistic? Okay, descriptive in statistics we have two different things, descriptive and inferential. Okay, descriptive actually usually for the exact value. Okay, we just want to know how the total of the respondent or subject that we collected. But for the inferential statistic, usually we discuss about the mean or median. But in statistic, actually, mean is more important. Okay, mean is more important than other measurement scale like median and mode. Why? Because mean, they get the value from the mean that can be representative to the population. But if you just using the median only give the center value. Okay, most of the statisticians prefer mean because mean is the parametric method and the median is the non-parametric method. But I think maybe this is quite high and this is not covered in our syllabus. So I'll just tell you that descriptive statistic is about the chart. Okay, if you are discuss about the pie chart, bar chart, line chart, and so on, okay, that's we call descriptive statistic. But if you want to analyze about the mediation, about the mean, median, and mode, this is what we call is inferential statistic. Okay, after this, you also learn about the normality assessment and the box plot analysis. Okay, and after that, maybe I forgot to tell you. Okay, after this, I also want to teach you about the hypothesis testing. Okay, this is very important part in statistics. Every time you want to decide, every time you want to reject your statement, it is depends on your hypothesis. Okay, we will learn about the hypothesis at the last chapter. Okay, next, do we have to be careful when using secondary data? Why? Actually, yes, because sometimes when we get the data from any sources, sometimes the data is very confidential. They just give you the information, the data, but sometimes the people from the original source didn't you to share the data from anyone because sometimes the data is very confidential and it maybe can affect to our national security. It depends to the situation. Okay, what kind of the data that you get. Okay, but if you just want to second data using the Department of Statistics, actually we can get through using the Google. You just type in the Department of Statistics in Malaysia. Okay, you have a lot of data. You also can get the contact from them, okay, to get the data what kind of research you want to do. Okay, data is very important. Even now we are doing for the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Okay, why? Because with this trend, with the big data, you can get many information from the big data compared with the small data. Because the small data cannot give you adequate information compared with the big data. For example, if you want to predict, is it Malaysia will get tsunami, for example, okay, you want to make the prediction. Of course, the result will be more trust, if you get more big data, the big data is meaning big information. You have a lot of information that you want to analyze and classify whether the tsunami is truly happen in Malaysia in the future. So this is just the prediction. But if you just get the data, get the small data, meaning that you just get the less information. Less information didn't means that you will get a lot, you will get the result will be trust. Okay, the result will be trust if you get a lot of the information. And how to get a lot of information, it depends on the big data. Okay, sometimes secondary data now currently are called the big data. But for the primary data that usually using the questionnaire, we call it as the primary data, actually didn't mention as part of the big data. So I'm just giving you some overview, or maybe you can start learning from this phase. Okay, what is the difference between the big data? Because after this, when you graduated and you go to any company, they will advise you to learn to take any training about the big data. Okay, even about the hartana and so on. Okay, and then the next question, which are more suitable to use, primary data or secondary data? Actually, it depends on what kind of your research. If you doing the research that has never been explored, the primary data much recommended. But if you just doing the data that has been explored, you just want to enhance the analysis, yes, you can do using the secondary data. For example, if you want to make the comparison, economic comparison between Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, and so on, we already have the data. But you just want to make the comparison using the secondary data that available in the database, yes. Okay, it is suitable. Okay, and then what is the population parameter and how we can get it? Okay, population, sometimes the people call the population as the census. Okay, the population, you can get it using the questionnaire, using the interview, using your observation. Okay, sometimes you can using the postal questionnaire, and so on. Okay, it depends on what kind of research you want to do. For example, if you are doing the research about the student, of course, your population is about the student, and then you have to design the questionnaire, just distribute the questionnaire to your student. Okay. If you are decide for the teacher, if you want to do the research about the teacher, then your population is about teacher. If you want to do research about the manager, you want to compare about the hotel 5-star, okay, and hotel 5-star in Malaysia. So you have to discuss, you have to get the information from the manager or any staff that working in hotel 5-star. Yeah, that's just example. Okay. Actually, it depends on what kind your specific research. Okay, and then what is the scale of measurement for occupation? Okay, like I said before, scale of measurement have 4 types. Okay, we have nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Okay, this 4 scale measurement, you have to better know. You have to better understand what the difference between them. Okay, for the occupation, actually it is suitable for nominal because we didn't have to compare each group. Okay, I just already give example for the nominal. Okay, nominal, we can give the nominal is the gender, okay, male and female. We didn't have to compare between male and female. We didn't have to tell the people that the male is better than female. Okay, this is nominal. But for the ordinal, it is the comparison group, comparison scale. Okay, you have to know, you have to differentiate whether this group is much better than other groups. Okay, for example, education level. Okay, yes, we know SPM and diploma is better than SPM. Degree and diploma degree is better than SPM in terms of the higher level. Okay, so this is also happen. If you are this, if your variable is about the comparison, it is suitable for the nominal. It is suitable for the ordinal. But in this case, since you're asking about the occupation, I think the most suitable scale is the nominal. Okay, nominal. We didn't have to let the people, okay, the respondent that working as a doctor is much better than the teacher. No, there is no such things happens. Okay, we as the researcher, we will treat all our respondents as same. Okay, so occupation should be recognized as the nominal scale. And then what are the difference between nominal, ordinal, and interval and ratio in the scale of measurement? Like I said before, nominal and ordinal is classified as the categorical, while the interval and ratio is classified as the continuous scale. Okay, in terms of the precision and accuracy of the result, of course, continuous scale is much better than the categorical. Okay, the categorical is nominal and ordinal. Okay, nominal, we didn't have to compare each group, but for ordinal, you can compare each group. Okay, like I said, like I just give an example before, and for the internal and ratio, sometimes if you are doing the research about the using the questionnaire, okay, you have design, okay, from 1 to 10. Okay, 1 is strongly disagree and then 10 is the strongly agree. This is what we call as the Likert scale. Okay, Likert scale is now currently recognized as the continuous scale. Sometimes the researcher has just set up their software, even SPSS. Okay, we just recognize 3 measurement scale: nominal, ordinal, and continuous scale. Some of the software just set up their just default their program internal and ratio as the continuous scale. Sometimes they just recognize it as the same thing. Okay, but you have to realize if the any value that about the decimal places, fraction, CGPA, mass, and so on, this is suitable for the continuous scale. But if your variable is about the categorical, you only have 2 different things, nominal and ordinal. You just need to know distinguish between the nominal and ordinal. Nominal, no comparison, and the ordinal, you can make the comparison between group. And internal and ratio is about the continuous scale. Okay, you just want to know the degree of the respondent agreement. Okay, this is what we call Likert scale. Okay, and then what are the example of descriptive statistic? Okay, like I said before, okay, gender also can be gender, education, income, and so on. Okay, then how can we identify the scale of each measurement? How can we identify the scale of each measurement? Okay, like I said before, you have to know what is the nominal, ordinal, and interval and ratio. Okay, nominal, dominant, and ordinal are the categorical, and the interval and ratio are continuous scale. Okay, categorical variable have 2 types. Okay, nominal you didn't have to compare, and ordinal you can compare variable. Okay, and then what kind of question should be addressed to the respondent if we are using descriptive statistic method? Okay, this is so simple. In questionnaire, you already have to develop 2 sections. Section A about the demographic profile. Section B about the item that related with the factors that you will be discussed in your research. Okay, for demographic profile, usually the researcher will ask about their gender, their education, income monthly, status, religion, race, and so on. Okay, this is the example for the descriptive statistic. Okay, what data does a researcher refers to if the researcher is collecting data based on his questionnaire? Okay, this is called primary data, or maybe cross-sectional study. Cross-sectional study. Actually, I didn't really get what it means, but maybe this group can ask me later. Okay, and then what are the measures that are used to analyze the central tendency of data? Okay, we can analyze using the mean, median, and mode. Okay, these 3 only are available under central tendency of data. Okay, I don't know what happened to the future, but for this time, for now, we only have these 3 things. Okay, mean, median, and mode. Okay, what is the difference qualitative and quantitative? Okay, and the second question, what is similar? Actually, there is no similar between qualitative and quantitative. Okay, qualitative is about the categorical, quantitative is about the continuous. Okay, what it means, qualitative variable is about the data that you obtain from your observation, interview, and experience. But for the quantitative, the data is about value. Okay, any numbers. Okay, this is what we call quantitative value, quantitative variable. Okay, for example, body temperature also called as the quantitative. But if you just get the information to do your research based on your interview, based on your observation, this is what we call qualitative. Okay, qualitative and quantitative are not similar. They have their own fashion of method to analyze. Okay, for the qualitative, you didn't have learn about formula, but for the quantitative, you have the mathematical formula. Okay, how statistics is used in business? Many things, not only for the business, not only for the business, not only for the, but actually it can be happen in the medical science, in the chemistry. Okay, I just give example. Okay, in statistics, when you do the research about the business, okay, the manager want to know. Okay, in statistics, we doesn't just learn about the modeling, but also we have to research to learn about the predictive modeling, the predictive prediction. For example, if you want to forecast, is it tomorrow we will get the benefits? Okay, so we can do some research using the statistical formula. Okay, we have the time series and forecasting, also one of the method under statistics. Okay, time series and forecasting, prediction, regression analysis, and so on. Okay, in business, they really need expert in statistics because they want get more benefit. Okay, they just want to know the prediction, what happens in the future. They want forecast. Okay, even in medical science, they have another discipline called medical statistics, or sometimes they call as the biostatistic. Okay, this discipline very important because it can help the doctor to analyze, to analyze the sample, and then they will get the idea what kind of medicine suitable for this research. Okay, I just gave example, but actually it is a lot. It is many things. Maybe you can read it a lot using the journal of business journal, management journal. You have a lot. After this, when you learn for the master and PhD level, you will get idea why is statistics is so important. If you didn't have any basic knowledge about the statistic, okay, trust me, you cannot finish your master and PhD within 1 to 2 years. Cannot. If you want to make it fast to completing your master and PhD, you have to learn the basic things, the basic of statistics. Okay. Yes, of course, you also learned about the finance, but the finance only discussed about the theory, but the method that will be used, the analysis and the discussion that relies on the hypothesis testing, you have to know about the statistic. Every research field, okay, there is no exception. Okay, and then the source of data used in business. The source of data used in business, is it you mean primary or secondary data? I'm not sure. And then the type of data used in business. This question's too simple and I don't have any idea. Okay, what is stratified sampling? Okay, I think this is okay, belong to other chapter, not for the introduction to statistics. But never mind, I will explain to you. Actually, stratified sampling is one of the probability sampling. Okay, when it calls as the probability sampling, of course, it's suitable for the parametric method like the regression analysis, ANOVA test, structural equation modeling, and so on. But the stratified actually not only about the stratified sampling, we also has another, for example, the simple random, cluster, systematic, multi-stage, okay, and the convenience sampling, purposes sampling, snowball sampling, and so on, many things. Okay, not only for the stratified. The stratified sampling, it depends on how you approach the response, how you get the data, how you want to get the data. Okay, if the way you want to approach the respondent is suitable for the simple random, yes, you have to explain the sampling process. But for the stratified also, you have to make sure all groups are in the strata. Strata means you have to identify the characteristic of the respondents are same. Okay, are same. You have to, maybe after this I will discuss a lot about here because we didn't have to discuss about this topic because of this topic is only for the next chapter. I'm just worried that the other student will confuse about this. Okay, one method of presenting data is stem and leaf plot. How to use it? Stem and leaf plot actually is approach to detect the outlier. Okay, actually the outlier is the one of the not necessary data, not important data. This outlier can affect the result because when we do the analysis, we have to make sure that the result obtained from this analysis can be trusted. So in order to get the data the result can be trusted, you have to report the outlier assessment. The outlier assessment. Actually, we have a lot of the assessment, and one of them is the stem and leaf plot. Okay, this actually you just only know to know that stem and leaf plot only for the outlier assessment, cannot for other things. Okay, that's all. Can after this, if anyone have other question, you can ask me, and I will try to deliver my answer using this platform again. Okay, and then thank you.